The first thing I did after the hospital told me I had terminal lung cancer was go home and kidnap the woman I'd been in love with for 8 years. A month later, I realized that besides feeling a little run down, I wasn't in any pain. That's when the hospital called to tell me they'd mixed up my test results. I was perfectly healthy. Panic seized me as I looked at the woman sleeping in my bed. I had to make a decision. 3 years later, I came back from London. After a company happy hour, my colleagues got me completely wasted. I woke up with a familiar silver chain locked around my ankle. But this time it was different. Lying next to me were two people, a woman and a little girl. The child was a miniature version of Anna Sterling. I was totally lost. Then the woman's cold voice sent a shiver down my spine. "Ethan," she said, "was it fun, leaving us to run off to another country? Seattle General Hospital, Mr. Cole, it's late-stage lung cancer. We need to start treatment immediately." Outside the hospital, I stood on the curb, clutching a bottle of painkillers meant to last a month. The doctor's words echoed in my head, a drumbeat of despair. I was only 22, a recent college grad, just starting an internship at a great company. How could my life be over already? I hadn't even told Anna how I felt. And now, in a month, I'd be dead. Tears streamed down my face as the Uber drove me home. The driver must have seen I'd come from the hospital, must have sensed my mood. "Hey, kid," he said just before I got out. "Whatever it is, there's no hill you can't climb. The only thing that matters is right now." Back inside the empty, modern house on the lake, his words replayed in my mind. I was alone, and I suddenly knew what I had to do. The driver was right. Live for today. I opened my phone and ordered a silver chain on Amazon Prime. I only had a month left. I wasn't going to die with regrets. The package arrived with startling speed just after I finished a microwave dinner. Holding the cool metal in my hand, I took a deep breath and opened iMessage, tapping the conversation pinned to the top of my screen. "Hey, I'm feeling really sick. Can you come over?" The reply was instantaneous. "On my way." She arrived 30 minutes later. While I waited, I crushed one of my old sleeping pills and stirred it into a glass of water, then sat on the sofa, my heart hammering against my ribs. Knock, knock, knock. I smoothed down my shirt, tried to calm my nerves, and opened the door. There she was, still in her work clothes, a tailored blazer and pencil skirt that did little to hide her stunning figure. A faint sheen of sweat was on her forehead. She must have rushed straight from the office. A wave of guilt washed over me, but I pushed it down, stealing my resolve. She swept inside, her face etched with worry, and pulled me toward the sofa. "Ethan, what's wrong? Where does it hurt? I'll take you to the ER." Her genuine concern brought fresh tears to my eyes. This was Anna Sterling, 6 years my senior, the woman who had saved me. When I was 14, my parents kicked me out. Anna, who was my older brother's friend from college, found me and took me in without a second thought. She put me through high school, then college. After graduation, I started working as her personal assistant at the company she'd built from the ground up. All these years, her unwavering care made her my entire world. This house was hers, too. She'd given it to me for my 18th birthday. "For when you get a girlfriend," she'd said with a smile. "So, I won't be in your way." But since that winter, she'd carried me out of Snowbank and into her warmth. There had never been another woman for me. Now, facing death, I found a courage I never knew I had. "Ethan, talk to me," she urged, her voice tight with anxiety as I just stared at her. "What is it? You're scaring me." "Here," I said, forcing a smile. "Drink some water first. I'll tell you everything." I took a deep breath, pushing the guilt away again. Her face, more beautiful than any movie star's, only strengthened my resolve. I was going to die in a month anyway. There's that old saying, better to die in a blaze of glory. "Just tell me," she insisted, but she was thirsty from rushing over. She took the glass and drained the water I'd mixed the sleeping pill into. Seeing the empty glass, a sense of relief washed over me. I took a steadying breath and made my expression serious. "Anna, I love you." I confessed, the words I'd held back for 8 years tumbling out. "I've loved you since the day you took me in. Can we be together?" I had to give her a chance. I didn't want to force her, didn't want her to hate me. But reality hit me like a slap. After a moment of stunned silence, her expression hardened into anger. "You're not sick. You lied to me." She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door without another word. My heart sank. A bitter smile touched my lips. Of course, she rejected me. Just as she reached the front door, her steps faltered. Her eyes glazed over, and she swayed, collapsing backward. I was ready. I lunged forward and caught her in my arms. Holding her sleeping form, I felt an undeniable, triumphant thrill. I carried her to the master bedroom, undressed her, and gently washed her with a warm cloth. Then I took the chain I'd bought and fastened it around her ankle. With that done, I picked up her iPhone and found her executive assistant in her contacts. Jenna, something's come up. I'm going on a business trip for a month. Don't try to contact me. Ethan will be managing things in my absence. Send any priority documents to me electronically. He'll sign on my behalf. The reply came back almost immediately. Understood. A smile spread across my face. It was a good thing I'd been working as her assistant since graduation. Everyone at the company knew how close we were. Jenna wouldn't question me signing for Anna. I did a quick tidy up of the room, but the most important thing was to take one of my new painkillers. I hated pain. Looking at the woman sleeping beside me, my heart swelled. I had loved her for 8 years, always seeing her as my untouchable guardian, my mentor. And now, finally, we were sleeping in the same bed. It was almost 11 o'clock. I wrapped my arm around her and let sleep take me. The next morning, Anna stirred, her hand rising to massage her forehead, only to find it trapped by a strong arm wrapped around her waist. She looked up and saw my face, inches from hers. Her own face went pale, then flushed with pure rage. With a furious grunt, she kicked me clean out of the bed. Ethan, you let me go, and don't you ever show your face to me again. She tried to scramble out of bed to get dressed, but the cold metal on her ankle stopped her. She looked down, saw the silver chain, and began to tremble with fury. Worse, she was completely naked. The only small relief was that her body didn't feel sore or violated. She glared at me as I sat up, rubbing my head, and opened her mouth to scream at me again. But before she could, I lunged forward, pinning her hand above her head. I'd been dreaming, a perfect dream where she and I were finally together. Being kicked to the floor was a rude awakening. Her shouts, though expected, still sent a pang of pain through my chest. My eyes went dark for a moment, but I'd already come this far. There was no turning back. I had 1 month left. As they say, you only live once. I lifted my head, my gaze locking with hers before dropping lower. Ethan, you. The curtains were drawn, casting the room in shadow. All reason was consumed by desire. I'd loved her for 8 years. For this last month, I refused to be a coward. 6 p.m. when I woke up again, Anna was staring at me, her face a blank mask. I couldn't meet her eyes. My gaze darted around the room. Anna, you must be hungry. I'll go make you some dinner. I mumbled, scrambling out of bed, pulling on clothes, and escaping the bedroom. In the room, Anna watched me go, her expression unreadable. Her eyes fell to the crimson stain on the white sheets, and a faint blush colored her cheeks. She let out a soft, resigned sigh. She found one of my white button-down shirts in the closet and headed for the en-suite bathroom. Thankfully, the chain I bought was long enough to let her move freely around the house. A little while later, I returned to the bedroom with a tray of food. Anna had just finished her shower. She was wearing my shirt. The sight of her made me stop dead in my tracks. If you're thinking about starting again, she said, her voice a low hum as she noticed my breathing quicken, I think you might actually kill me. I gave an awkward laugh and brought the tray over, holding a spoonful of soup to her lips. She glared at me for a second, then opened her mouth and accepted it. Seeing her compliance, a jolt of happiness went through me, and I continued to feed her. Ethan, take this chain off. I have work to do, contracts that need my attention. After finishing the soup, Anna didn't mention what had happened. Are you planning to keep me locked up like this forever? If I don't show up to work, someone will report me missing. This is a crime, you know. I just smiled at her threat. No, you don't need to worry about the company. I already told Jenna you're taking a leave of absence. I'll handle the paperwork. I took out her phone and showed her the iMessage conversation with Jenna. Then I pocketed it, making sure she couldn't get her hands on any communication devices. Seeing that I had planned for everything, Anna's eyes blazed with fury. She was fuming. She never should have given me so much authority at the company. Now this little punk had her right where he wanted her. The next morning, I placed a breakfast tray on the bedside table. Looking at Anna's pale face, I felt a pang of regret. I'd lost control yesterday. She must hate me now. But then I remembered that through it all, she hadn't really fought back. A slow smile spread across my face. Maybe she wasn't completely against this after all. I tidied up the messy room. From the bed, Anna watched me with a complicated expression before I left for the office. At Sterling Corp, I had to get back to work after taking a day off. For this 1 month, I was determined to handle everything perfectly so she wouldn't have any mess to clean up when I was gone. I spent the entire day in her corner office, buried in documents. I brought the most critical ones home with me in the evening. That night, back in the bedroom, Anna looked at the stack of files I'd brought and let out a dry, humorless laugh. Last night, I'd had the stamina of a bull, and she was still sore all over. She'd finally started to feel better, and now this guy wanted her to work. What's so funny? Sign them, I said, trying to sound firm. Her smile made me nervous. And don't even think about getting your hands on a phone, or I'll make sure you can't get out of bed tomorrow either. My threat seemed to work. A slight shiver went through her, and she picked up a pen and started reviewing the documents. I used the time to go downstairs and make dinner. This became our routine for the next few weeks. During the day, I was at the office, acting as CEO in her place. At night, I bring home important files for her to sign. As the weeks passed, I noticed she never made any attempt to escape. Most days when I got home, I'd find her sitting on the balcony with a book, just watching the lake. Her only attire was that single, oversized button-down shirt of mine. And so, for more than half a month, excluding the few days of her period, I would wait for her to finish her work before eagerly pulling her into my arms. And every time, she would respond to my kisses. I savored every moment of this strange, domestic life, but I knew my time was running out. Only another week or so left. Whenever that thought crossed my mind, a shadow of despair would fall over me. But that despair would quickly morph into a desperate energy, making me hold her even tighter. The one good thing was that with the painkillers, I hadn't felt any real pain. At least I wouldn't have to suffer at the end. The only downside was that I felt weaker every day, and I definitely lost some weight. One night, as we lay in bed, Anna's face was a mixture of frustration and anger. When are you going to let me go? This guy, did he never get tired? One more week, and I'll let you go, I promised. Can't you? Can't you take a few days off? Your body can't keep this up, can it? Who says I can't? I shot back, stung. A man can never admit he's not up to the task. Besides, my weakness was from the cancer, not this. For her to question my stamina, she needed to be punished. Time flew. 3 days were left until the month was up. My phone rang. Hello, is this Mr. Ethan Cole? It was the hospital. I figured they were calling to persuade me to start treatment again. But with only 3 days left, what was the point? You don't have to convince me. I started, ready to hang up. I'm not doing the treatment. Mr. Cole, please wait. You've misunderstood. We at the hospital owe you a profound apology. We made a mistake with your lab results. Your chart was mixed up with another patient who had the same name. You are in perfect health. The other Mr. Cole, he passed away at 6 this morning. We are so sorry. The rest of her words faded into a dull buzz. My eyes were wide, my mind replaying a single phrase. You are in perfect health. I wasn't sick. I wasn't going to die. Wait, if I wasn't sick, why did I feel so weak? Why was my body so run down? Forgetting all about work, I bolted out of the office and raced toward the hospital. Suddenly, my health was the most important thing in the world. Mr. Cole, based on your description, the new doctor explained calmly, your physical weakness and fatigue are likely due to a combination of excessive physical exertion and prolonged use of high-dose painkillers. Go home, eat well, take some vitamins, and rest for a month. You'll be fine. On behalf of the hospital, I sincerely apologize for the mental distress our error has caused you. I wasn't sick. I stood on the hospital steps again, but this time, joy flooded my heart. But just as quickly, the joy was replaced by pure terror. If I'm not sick, that means in 3 days when I let Anna go, I'm going to prison. No way. I'm too young. I can't waste my life in a jail cell. Maybe I can go back and apologize to Anna? No, she'd never forgive me. What if I tell her the truth about the misdiagnosis? She'd just think it was a desperate lie to stay out of prison. My mind raced, trying to figure out a way to earn her forgiveness. My thoughts were interrupted by the honk of a car horn. I looked up. An Uber had pulled over. By some cosmic coincidence, it was the same driver from a month ago. He recognized me, too. Hey, kid, it's you, he said with a grin. You're looking a lot better. I guess so, sir, I replied. Hey, can I ask you a question? Seeing him felt like a sign. A month ago, his advice had led me to Anna. Maybe he could help me again. Let's say someone really screwed up, crossed someone they shouldn't have, and that person will never forgive them. And they're also terrified of going to jail. What should they do? Huh, that's easy, he said with a chuckle. Skip the country. 3 years. After 3 years, no matter how big the grudge, time smooths things over. Besides, our laws can't touch you over there. Kid, you're not talking about yourself, are you? What? No way. I laughed nervously, trying to cover. I just saw a question like that on a TikTok video and was curious. Thanks for the answer. His suggestion was a lightning bolt. Take care, kid, he said as I got out of the car. And hey, a word of advice. Whatever it is, face it head on. Don't do anything you'll regret. Thanks. Standing outside the Sterling Corp tower, I watched the Uber drive away, my heart pounding with a new plan. I remembered a conversation from a few days ago. The company had a 3-year international project in London that nobody had volunteered for yet. It was tailor-made for me. I hurried into the building, rushing past Jenna, the executive assistant, without a word. What I didn't see was Jenna staring at the Seattle General Hospital bag in my hand. She pulled out her phone, snapped a picture, and sent it to Anna's still confiscated phone. Ms. Sterling, is Mr. Cole okay? He seems to be at the hospital a lot. When are you coming back? For a month now, Ms. Sterling hadn't replied to a single message. Jenna was getting more and more curious about what kind of deal she was working on that required this much secrecy. Over the next 2 days, I secured the London project and rushed through the paperwork for my international transfer. The entire office was shocked, even Jenna. I didn't offer any explanations. Tomorrow, after tonight, my flight leaves at 8 a.m. I'll be out of Seattle, and I won't be going to prison. When I got home that evening, Anna was waiting. Ethan, when are you letting me out? It was the first thing she said to me every day. She stared at me, her eyes boring into mine. Suddenly, I was overcome with the urge to be with her one last time, to be completely reckless. This might be the last chance I ever had. What are you? I silenced her with a kiss, overwhelming her before she could protest. Sensing my desperation, she stopped fighting and yielded to me. Later, around 3 in the morning, she was crying, her voice hoarse as she begged me to stop. But I couldn't hear her. My mind was consumed by a single thought. This is the last time. After this, she won't be mine anymore. We'll be nothing to each other. I have to leave an impression so deep she'll never forget me. At 6 in the morning, I shot out of bed. I showered, packed a bag with essentials, and made her breakfast, leaving it in the warming drawer. I turned her phone back on and placed it on the pillow beside her sleeping head. Then, I unlocked the chain that had bound her for a month. A red, chafed mark circled her ankle. I gently traced the line with my finger for a long moment before leaning down to kiss her forehead. I left a note on the nightstand and called an Uber to the airport. Once I was on the 8 a.m. flight to London, I finally gave in to exhaustion and fell into a deep sleep. The 11-hour flight would be just enough to recover from the night before. 3 o'clock p.m. in the bedroom of the lakeside house. Anna was jolted awake by the ringing of her phone. Ms. Sterling? Mr. Cole said you'd be back at the office today. When should we expect you? Ugh. Anna groaned, her voice raspy. Just wait. The word had barely left her lips before she regretted it, her face flushing a deep crimson as she remembered the night before. She quickly hung up. She didn't know why the little bastard had given her phone back, but she didn't have time to dwell on it. She swung her legs out of bed, only for them to buckle, sending her crumbling to the floor. That's when she saw the note on the nightstand. Anna, I'm gone. I don't want to go to jail. I still have my whole life ahead of me. Please don't press charges. Reading the words, Anna's world tilted on its axis. The memories of the past month, which she'd kept at bay, came rushing back in a tidal wave. She stumbled into the bathroom and sank into the tub, scrolling through a month's worth of messages. When she saw the one from Jenna, the picture of me leaving the hospital, followed by the news of my 8 a.m. flight to London for a 3-year project, her eyes widened in shock. She started to laugh. The laughter was hollow, and it quickly died, replaced by an icy calm. With a sudden, violent motion, she hurled her phone against the tiled wall, where it shattered into 100 pieces. A single, crystalline tear fell from her eye, splashing onto the floor. Ethan Cole, you're something else. Take what you want, and when you're done, you just throw it away. You'd better hope you never, ever come back. I, of course, knew nothing of this. I was still sound asleep on the plane, completely oblivious to the fury I would face upon my return in 3 years. 3 years later, 4:00 p.m., Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Ethan. Over here. A guy leaning against a Porsche waved me over. It was my best friend, Leo Garcia. I couldn't help but smile. Dude, you just vanished for 3 years without a word, Leo said as I threw my bag in the back. There's a big corporate gala tonight. We're going, and we're getting seriously drunk. In the car, Leo chattered on about everything I'd missed, but I only half listened. My mind was on Anna. 3 years had passed. Surely she didn't hate me anymore, right? If she did, I'd just have to resign. The thought left a bitter taste in my mouth. I didn't want to leave. Ethan, you listening to me? Yeah, sure, I said. Let's go. We dropped my luggage at Leo's apartment, since there was no time to get my own place. Man, you have no idea how much of a powerhouse your Anna has become since you left, Leo said as he searched for a tie. She absolutely crushed all her competitors. Every single one went bankrupt. She basically runs this city now. No one dares to cross her. I saw her last month at an event. Her glare alone almost made me piss my pants. I sat on his couch, listening in a daze. Anna was really that successful? A genuine sense of pride and happiness swelled in my chest. 8 p.m. I borrowed one of Leo's suits, and we headed to the gala. He'd insisted on coming here instead of a bar because some major player was supposed to be in attendance, and he wanted me to help him make a connection. I thought it was ridiculous. I'd been out of the country for 3 years. Who was I going to know? The big shot wasn't arriving until 9, so Leo and I found a quiet corner and started on the champagne. After a while, I excused myself to go to the restroom. As I was washing my hands, a figure appeared behind me in the mirror. A man in a maroon suit, with features unsettlingly similar to my own, was smiling at me. My blood ran cold. It was my half-brother, Caleb Cole, the reason I'd been kicked out of my house all those years ago. But this was my first day back. I was here to celebrate with my friend, not to start a fight. I dried my hands and turned to leave. Ethan, Caleb's mocking voice stopped me. Did you come to this gala specifically to watch me propose to Anna? What did you say? I spun around, my eyes wide, locking onto his. How dare he call her Anna so casually? Huh, we didn't know, he sneered. After you skipped town, Anna started bringing me to all sorts of events. She even gave my family's company some of her most important contracts. Tonight, she's going to be mine. I should thank you, really. Your little 3-year vacation gave me the perfect opportunity to get close to her. His words were like knives in my gut. My hands clenched into fists. All I could hear was that Caleb was going to be with Anna. The pain was suffocating. So, she really does still hate me. She knew how much I despised Caleb, and she chose to be with him anyway. Ignoring his smug taunts, I walked back to our table, my shoulders slumped in defeat, and started downing glass after glass of champagne. Now I knew who Leo's big shot was, but I felt no joy, only a crushing bitterness. My first time seeing Anna in 3 years, and it was to watch my brother propose to her. Leo saw my mood plummet and watched me drink, wanting to say something but thinking better of it. He just closed his mouth and started drinking with me. An hour later, we were both completely wasted, and that's when the entire ballroom went silent. A woman in a stunning, sky-blue gown made her entrance. It was Anna. Her gaze swept across the room, finally landing on me, slumped over the table in a corner. Her expression hardened for a fraction of a second. She started to walk toward me, but a figure suddenly stepped into her path. In front of everyone, Caleb dropped to one knee, holding up a diamond ring. Anna, I love you. Will you be with me? The spotlight fell on them. No one seemed surprised. Someone even shouted, "Say yes." The noise stirred me from my drunken stupor. I looked up and saw the two of them, bathed in light. My heart felt like it was being torn in two. I wanted to run up there to stop it, but what right did I have? I reached for my glass and took another long, bitter swallow. Under the lights, Caleb saw me look up, and a cruel smile touched his lips. He turned back to Anna, his voice full of emotion. Anna, will you do me the honor of? Slap. The sharp crack of a hand hitting a cheek echoed through the silent hall. Everyone froze. On a makeshift stage, Caleb stared at Anna in disbelief, one hand on his stinging cheek. He didn't understand. What did he do wrong? Didn't she like him? Why did she hit him? Jenna, Anna's voice was ice. Terminate every contract we have with Coal Industries. And anyone who was cheering just now, terminate their contracts too. Without waiting for the chorus of pleas from the surrounding CEOs, she turned and walked straight toward me, her face a mask of indifference. I hadn't processed any of it. My mind was stuck on a loop. Anna said yes to Caleb. Anna is with Caleb. My hand brought the glass to my lips again, but a delicate hand snatched it away. I looked up, annoyed that someone had taken my drink, and my eyes met Anna's stormy expression. The anger instantly evaporated from my mind, replaced by a sudden jolt of fear. I couldn't look at her. The first thing you do when you get back isn't to see me, but to get wasted at a party, she said, her voice low and dangerous. You've really got some nerve, Ethan Cole. Why do you care? I slurred, still lost in my drunken misery. We're nothing to each other. You're with Caleb now. So what does it matter to you? I was too drunk to have noticed her public rejection of him. All I knew was that she was here, scolding me, and a wave of self-pity washed over me. I snatched the glass back and tried to take another drink. Jenna, arrange for someone to take Mr. Garcia home. Seeing my jealous tantrum, some of the anger seemed to melt from Anna's face. Suddenly, I felt myself being lifted off the chair. Anna had swept me up into her arms as if I weighed nothing. The champagne in my glass sloshed all over the front of her expensive gown, soaking the fabric, but she didn't seem to notice. She just carried me toward the exit. In that moment, everyone in the room finally understood who Ms. Sterling was really interested in. Sneers and mocking glances were sent Caleb's way, and the people who had been cheering for him were now filled with regret. But no one dared to stand in her way. Presidential suite, Four Seasons Hotel. Anna carried my unconscious body straight into the bathroom and started washing me up. Looking down at the man she hadn't seen in 3 years, she didn't know whether to be angry or exasperated. Later, on the king-size bed, Anna finished drying her hair. I was slowly coming to my senses. Seeing her next to me, I shoved her away. She was with Caleb now. What did she want with me? Get away from me. What do you want? Who else would I want? She purred, her eyes dark and intense, practically pinning me to the bed. Drinking so much? Did I or did I not tell you that you're not allowed to drink? Her gaze was so predatory, it felt like she was about to devour me whole. This kid dared to reject her? He slept with her and then just abandoned her? Oh, he was going to pay. I'm not your boyfriend. Go find your actual boyfriend. Hearing my drunken accusation, Anna just laughed. A cold, dangerous laugh. He loves me, but won't confess. He sleeps with me for a month, then runs off to another country. She hadn't even gotten her revenge yet, and now he had the audacity to blame her? Get off. I tried to push her away, but her expression turned predatory. She leaned down, pinning me to the mattress and silencing my protests with her lips. Meanwhile, in the presidential suite of another hotel, my friend Leo was being expertly seduced by a beautiful woman. In a matter of minutes, he was lost in her embrace. The next morning, I was woken up by the alarm on my phone. My body ached all over. I knew, with a sinking feeling, that I'd been had last night. So it wasn't a dream. There was a fresh set of clothes laid out on a chair with a note in Anna's familiar handwriting. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. At least it was her and not someone else. I quickly got dressed. Today was my first day back at the office. After last night, I was pretty sure Anna didn't hate me anymore. Feeling surprisingly cheerful, I called an Uber. On the way, I went into my blocked list on my phone and unblocked the one person who'd been there for 3 years. Just then, a message from Leo popped up that made my jaw drop. Dude, you have to help me. Anna's assistant, Jenna, she seduced me last night, and I slept with her. She recorded the whole thing. She says if I don't take responsibility, she's sending me to jail. Ethan, you gotta save me, man. I read the message, and my mouth twitched. I was more shocked that Jenna was into Leo, but there was nothing I could do. Leo, man, I think you should just go with it. She obviously likes you. If you don't take responsibility, you could actually end up in jail, and your family's business could take a hit. It took a while for him to respond. By the time I arrived at the office building, a new message appeared. I get it, man. Reading it, my good mood returned. I'd done a good deed. Today was going to be a great day. I walked toward the executive offices, feeling optimistic. All my old colleagues greeted me warmly, and I returned their hellos. As I stepped out of the elevator, I saw Jenna walking toward me. When she saw me, her eyes held a flicker of pity. I had no idea why, but thinking of Leo's message, I blurted out, "Hey Jenna, you're not actually going to send Leo to jail, are you?" Jenna froze, her face turning bright red. Without a word, she darted into the elevator. "Come in. Anna, this is the office, Ethan. I want a full report on the London project." I had just started to speak when her icy gaze stopped me cold. "Now, all right, of course." Her cold, professional demeanor made me incredibly nervous. I quickly summarized the 3-year project. After leaving her office, I could still feel my heart pounding. She was so warm last night. What happened? At least she didn't bring up what happened 3 years ago. For the next few days, I crashed at Leo's place. I learned from Jenna that Anna had taken over my house. Remembering her frosty attitude in the office, I didn't dare go back, terrified of what punishment awaited me. But you can't run from fate. A few days later, the company had a team-building event at a downtown bar. I was cornered by a group of senior executives who kept toasting me. I noticed they all had the same look of pity in their eyes, which just confused me more. Before I knew it, I was completely drunk and passed out on a sofa. The door to the private room opened, and the executives all filed out respectfully as a new figure entered. Anna Sterling looked at my sleeping form and smiled. That night, I had a dream. In the dream, Anna and I were married. We had a daughter. The 3 of us were a happy family. The next morning, I slowly opened my eyes, feeling a small weight on my chest. Staring back at me was a miniature version of Anna Sterling. Her big, curious eyes lit up when she saw I was awake. She threw her little arms around my neck and chirped, "Daddy." I looked around the unfamiliar room and saw the real Anna lying on her side, next to me, a gentle smile on her face as she watched us. My mind went completely blank. How was I a father? Was this my daughter with Anna? Had my dream come true? 1,000 questions swirled in my head. After a long moment, I looked at the smiling woman beside me and asked in a trembling voice, "Is she mine? Who else's would she be?" Anna replied sweetly, "You were quite energetic that last night before you left." I found out I was pregnant not long after. Of course, if you don't want her, I could always ask Caleb to be her. No, I snapped, glaring at her, the thought of Caleb with my child filling me with rage. But my anger fizzled out as soon as I met her challenging gaze. Anna, I'm so sorry. I started, wanting to finally explain everything that happened 3 years ago. But it was clear she already knew. The smile vanished from her face, replaced by a cold, calculating smirk. Sweetheart, she said to the little girl, why don't you go play with Auntie Jennifer a bit? Daddy doesn't want us anymore, so Mommy has to teach him a lesson. Okay, go, Mommy. Teach Daddy a lesson. The little girl scrambled off the bed, pulling the door shut behind her. I looked at the woman smirking down at me, about to speak, but she cut me off. Ethan, was it fun? Leaving me and our daughter to go to London for 3 years. Her voice was dangerously soft. 3 years ago, you locked me up for a month. Starting today, you're going to stay in this room for a year. If you don't, our daughter and I are moving in with Caleb. Before I could respond, her lips were on mine. I tried to struggle, but it was then that I realized my arms and legs were bound to the bedposts. With chains. The very same chains I had bought 3 years ago, now divided into 4 and used to restrain me. I didn't dare fight back. I couldn't protest. The thought of my woman and my daughter calling Caleb husband and father was unbearable. They were mine. This was what I deserved. What goes around comes around. My only regret was listening to that Uber driver's advice. Because of him, I was about to spend the next year in this bed. But at the same time, I was grateful to him. Without his advice, I might never have had the courage to act on my feelings for Anna, and I never would have had this incredible daughter. You can never predict the future. All you can do is live in a moment and go after what you want. You might just get it. 1 year later, it was my first time at an amusement park since I'd returned, maybe the first time in my entire life. And this time, I had a woman and a little girl by my side. Honey, Anna whispered in my ear as our Ferris wheel car reached the top. Chloe said she wants a little brother. Tonight. A shiver went down my spine, and my legs felt weak. But it wasn't from fear. It was disbelief, followed by a wave of pure joy. I couldn't believe the woman I'd worshipped for so long still wanted to have children with me. Looking back, I felt like a monster. I had held her captive for a month, abandoned her for 3 years, and left her to raise our daughter completely alone. And what had been my punishment? She'd only kept me for a few days before we were signing marriage licenses. In that moment, I swore to myself that I would never leave them again. The Ferris wheel paused at its highest point, offering a stunning view of the city. I looked at the woman whose eyes were filled with nothing but love for me, and took a deep breath. Under the shocked gaze of my wife and daughter, I slowly knelt down on one knee and pulled out the ring I'd been carrying. I still owed her a proper proposal. With my daughter as our witness, I finally placed the ring on the finger of the woman I had loved for 12 years. Later that night, I had the sudden urge to take an Uber home instead of driving. We could pick up the car tomorrow. Inside the car, the driver's voice sounded familiar. Hey, it's you. 3 years go by, and now you've even got a daughter. I was busy playing with Chloe and was startled by the voice. It was him, the driver. It's you, sir. Yeah, and I have you to thank for it, I said with a laugh. I should buy you dinner sometime. Oh, no need. You and Ms. Sterling make a perfect couple. Wait, how did he know Anna's name? I stared at the back of the driver's head, then glanced at my wife, who had been uncharacteristically quiet since we got in the car. I had the distinct feeling I'd walked into a trap. Dad, Anna said calmly, breaking the silence. We'll bring Ethan home to see you and Mom soon. Sound good, he replied. And just like that, everything clicked into place. My wife had been in love with me from the very beginning. No wonder she was never truly angry after what I did. It turns out the most dangerous predator is the one who was hunting you all along.